Hello, everyone. It's Thursdays at 3 with Mr. Alan Shankles. How are you, Mr. Allen?
How are you, Jason?
I'm well. It is Thursday, August 13th. Already, August is halfway done. It's crazy to think about.
Crazy.
How's your day going today, Alan?
Well, I tell you, I've been working on the budget for next season, and it's a little scary right now, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've cut basically all of our income in half, and our ticket sales in half, and that doesn't make ends meet.
Sure. Oh.
I've been meaning to tell you, you're fired.
Last Thursdays at 3. We're also looking for new job openings for
If they got rid of me, they could probably make this thing balanced.
Live. If anyone is hiring, I know a great Hispanic man who works hard and is very creative.
I'm not letting you
Yeah, we are all kind of getting ready for August, for the fall, and hoping for our new season that everything goes well.
Yes, we are. It's been a struggle. I tell you, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I know you are too. We've all been working hard to try to make this thing work.
We're crunching numbers. We're trying to get auditions going virtually. It's been crazy. Well, before we bring in our amazing actress, Miss Connie, Cannaday is with us today from The Humans. Can't wait to talk to her. But before we get to her, just a couple of reminders. Talking about the fall, we want to remind everyone that the registration for fall classes begins Monday. That's this Monday, August 17th. If anyone hasn't checked it out already, we have new safety protocol on our website. I'm going to mute you real quick. I think I'm getting some feedback from you real quick. I'm going to mute you real quick to see if that fixes it. Real quick, we're just going to have, we have new safety protocol on our website. Check out the COVID tab. We have a new COVID tab on our website. Gives all of our safety protocol for the main stage, Adventure Space, backstage. Has all of our information for Academy classes and also for our Academy rehearsals. So check that out. There's also a new participation release form that all of our Academy students, whether you're 3 years old or an adult taking classes, you need to get that filled out and turned into the box office in order to take a class this coming fall. And just let everyone know, we are limiting class sizes. So those classes are going to fill up quickly. We did that to make sure to have social distancing, keep all of our safety measures in place. Somebody talked about how it was like a Disney drop day. Like whenever you're at Disney, they drop the rope in order for you to go do all your rides. It's like they drop in the rope for registration. So reminder, you can do that over the phone by calling our box office. But there's only 2 phone lines, so it gets pretty busy. You can do it on our website. And then, of course, you can come by the theater and do it in person as well. And then speaking of the Academy, we were talking about those auditions that we did virtually. We will be posting at 4 o'clock today our showstoppers and junior and senior company acting rosters. They sent in our virtual auditions. And Alan, I didn't even get to tell you this. We were lucky because we did it virtually. We were able to get judges from Los Angeles, New York, and Indiana that are working in the industry right now that looked at our kids, watched them on there, and gave some great feedback. And so we didn't have to worry about getting anyone local. We were able to kind of go outside, and so many of them. One of the casting agents that was one of our judges was literally talking about how our kids should be auditioning for Disney, like they're just doing a really good job. So it was great. It was great feedback for their program, but it's going to be great feedback for these kids as well, I think.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so check out our website, the Academy homepage of our website. Check under the little section that says call board, and you'll see that information there. Okay, and then more importantly, the Humans. The second weekend of the Humans. Let's bring on the fabulous Miss Connie Cannaday. Hey, Miss Connie.
Hey, everybody.
Miss Connie, I saw the show on Thursday. You were amazing in the show. The whole cast was absolutely amazing. I love the show. But I mean, man, and we'll talk about the show in a little bit, but I can't wait to find out more information from you about this rehearsal process and all that good stuff. Alan, of course, the second weekend starts up tonight. How did you feel, Alan, after that first weekend of shows? It was kind of like is this going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Men being worn. And
I was greatly relieved when I went home Sunday afternoon. weekend had gone very well, and I think we were all very tense on Thursday and Friday. We had a maximum occupancy for what we were able to do, and so we went over on Wednesday and did a dress rehearsal for how we were going to get people through the in the door and through the hallway and down into the performance space. And I have to say that our staff performed like always, just like pros.
Yeah, it was perfect.
That was smooth sailing, and we got everybody in and out, and I think we kept everybody safe, and we've solicited input from many of the people that were in attendance this opening weekend, and almost to a person, they've all said they felt safe and that they thought we had done a good job with the protocols, and so that's all we can do.
I saw the show Thursday, and I felt bad, Alan. I told you I've seen the first show just in case something happens, and the rest of the evening.
Without a doubt, that's I told this cast the night before we opened. I said I can't guarantee you that we'll finish this run.
Yeah.
But we'll plan to, and then if we don't, we'll change our plan.
Sure. But I have to say, when I came in as an audience member, I mean, we have. For those of you who haven't seen the show yet, there's social distance stickers outside on the sidewalk, so we knew where to stand to keep ourselves apart. Joe was there taking our temperatures at the door. I was running warm because I had sat in my car, so then they moved me to the academy classroom, kind of like a cool down spot to make sure I was not with other people. Yeah, which was great. And then came back and my temperature was fine, so then got in. No program. I did the picture, the QR code, went in. It was great. And then everyone that my show I saw Thursday did a great job. Two seats in between, social distance, and then of course wore their masks for the whole show.
Yeah, well, I'm proud of our audience members because there are, as we all know, there are people that refuse to wear masks for one reason they may have, but Our patrons didn't complain, and they wore their masks, and that our cast members wore masks for 5 weeks of rehearsal, but they're not wearing masks during the performances, so it's very imperative that our audience wear masks.
Right.
We do have our masks. A couple of us have our masks off stage when we go off, just in case, and then we all have them in our pockets, pretty much when we come out for bows, so we can immediately put them back on again. So. And it's amazing how used to the whole cast got in staying away from each other, even backstage.
Wow.
Especially when we went without masks, we still have space among us back there, as much as we can get.
That's good.
We had a team rehearsal last night. We often on Wednesday, the night before we start back up a second weekend or third weekend, we'll get together and have a line run through where they just go through the lines really quickly, but just to get them back in their heads. And interestingly enough, the cast came in and sat 4 or 5 seats apart, and we just sat there and ran the lines and got it done in about an hour and went home.
Yep.
Wow. Nice.
I think we've gotten really used to it.
Yeah. That's good. Connie, I was going to say, you have some fans watching. Jennifer Higgins, we love Connie.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer.
She's phenomenal.
Oh, Joe, she's wonderful.
Riley, love everyone.
Oh, Riley, my goodness.
Riley, I've been seeing,
and then of course,
some of your photos. You're kind of setting the world on fire, girl.
She is. We're all gonna be like, remember when she was part of ALT? Then Dennis says, greatest Thursday at 3 ever. I love it. Alan, just remind us, if anyone is brand new, remind us what our new ALT safety protocols are for the adventure space.
Well, essentially, we've talked through them. You line up. We're not opening the building until half hour before the performance, and so we're opening up tonight at 7 o'clock. We have the audience, the waiting audience, lining up out in front of the building. We've got spots marked every 6 feet for social distancing. When you get to the front doors, we'll bring one group in at a time. We'll take their temperatures. As you already acknowledged, if you're over temperature, we're going to send you into another little room to cool down for. Then you go down the hall, down the lobby to meet Lissa, and Lissa will either give you a program, or you can use the QR code and get a digital program if you don't want to touch a program. And then you go into the performance space. The show's 90 minutes long. We ask that you keep your masks on for sure, and keep your social distance. And it's simple.
And it was worked great. I think everyone felt safe. I feel like people who haven't been other places came to ALT and felt safe, and we've got, like you said, great feedback.
Stick on our watch, and we're enforcing the mask regulation, and if you don't want to wear a mask, don't come to the theater.
Yeah.
Sure. It's not an essential thing right now for you to do, for basically. Yeah.
For us, we've got to try to help be a part of turning this thing around.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Connie, talk to me about wearing a mask during rehearsals. How was that?
Oh, that was really interesting. But even more so, I think everybody was glad to have one on, because when we first came back, particularly me, because I wasn't sure, and I told Alan early on, I wasn't sure initially that I would be able to come back.
Sure.
Back in March when we had stopped everything. But I think we all felt glad to have it on to start with. And we felt like as long as we could, say our lines and learn the blocking, that, we could put as much expression into it as we wanted to. You just couldn't see people's face.
Yeah.
But from internally, we could do as much as we needed to do. And
sure.
For my character, fortunately, all I really needed was somebody's eyes so I could stare at them. So, it really worked a whole lot better that way for me. But I think we were glad. And as a matter of fact, I think the first time we took them off, and Alan, you remember this, I mean, we were a little tentative.
Yeah,
we were a lot tentative. And
when was that? When did you have a rehearsal without the mask?
The night before a preview.
Wow. So that Wednesday. Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, Connie?
I'm sorry?
I think it was 2 nights before preview.
Was it 2 nights before? Okay, maybe so. It was one of the dress rehearsals.
Yeah.
We had an audience on Thursday.
And it was, it was kind of like, well, okay, here we go. And so everybody was a little nervous. But once we got into it, I think, but even, I think the performances got better too. We got more used to it after we had done, the first performance without the masks.
Sure. Alan, we had a question. Alan Burns said, did y'all consider clear face shields?
We did consider that. We just felt like we had enough distance from our audience, and the cast members had been together long enough that they were trusting each other, that they were keeping. What was really crucial is that we all had to trust each other, that when we were away from the theater, we were doing what we were supposed to be doing then as much as when we were at the theater. Because if somebody ends up getting sick,
right,
then all of us are exposed.
Yeah.
And so I just felt like the face shields certainly would be an alternate solution, but it lacks something in the big scheme of things.
Sure, yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about the actual show now, rather than all the safety stuff. Connie, in your words, what is The Humans about?
Oh gosh, it's got so many layers. It's hard to really say exactly what it's going to mean to any individual. I mean, on the strict surface of it, it's about a family that gets together at one of the daughter's new apartments, where she's moved in with her boyfriend, and the rest of the family goes there instead of going to their usual Thanksgiving celebration at the parents' home in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So now they're in New York. And, so that's the main thing. And so it's just about, the angst, the love, the joking, all of those sorts of things that goes on in a typical family. But there are a lot of undertones in the characters, and that each one of them has something that is bothering them or they are fearful of in some way or another. And that goes all the way from the youngest daughter all the way up to the grandmother, who of course has late stage Alzheimer's. And so that's my character. And Alan, do not say typecasting.
Connie is playing full on dementia, and it is
Difficult.
it is very chilling to watch her portray this part, because she's doing a beautiful job with it. It's not over the top. It's very understated, underplayed, and you just really, I think it's sort of a shocking, pleasant surprise when Connie comes bounding out for curtain for the bows after.
Yeah.
I've explained to some of my friends who don't live here, and they've asked me, how do you go about even preparing for a part like this? And, I did do some research into, mostly with talking with friends of mine who have parents that have some issues, and just getting an idea of what it's like to be with their loved ones.
Sure.
And so that helped a lot too.
Shannon says there, Connie will break your heart in the show. Amazing performance.
Shannon, thank you so much. We love you. Thanks for bringing the food every night.
Yeah. So you guys got to eat. Well, you have to have an insure every night, right?
I'm sorry?
The drink, the insure.
No, I have to have insure. I don't get a plate put in front of me, but I steal a few green beans off of everybody else's plate.
Nice. I love it.
I mean, I want to participate in this meal somehow.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Connie, was this the show that you were excited about auditioning from the get-go when you heard that ALT was doing the humans? Were you like, I'm going to research the show and this is something I want to audition for? Or
Well, yeah, no, I was really excited about auditioning for this show. And as a matter of fact, I only wanted to audition for Momo. I mean, that was the part that I put down, and that was the part I had read through and looked at before the auditions. And then Alan immediately calls me up there to read a Deirdre part, and I had no clue what was in there for Deirdre.
Well, it was kind of hard to read Momo.
Well, it was. It was absolutely, yeah.
95% of her dialogue is just jibber jabber.
It is just jibber jabber, yeah. I even went so far as to try to look up those words in maybe Gaelic or old Irish or something, but it's still gibberish. Believe me, I couldn't find anything that matched anything.
Alan, I'm going to pull you out and back in real quick. I think we're getting feedback from yours. So I'm trying to fix. Let me pull you out real quick and then pull you back in. See if that fixes it. We'll see if that fixed it. So Connie, of course, you talked about how you prepared a little bit for this role and looked into that. Alan, how did you go about directing? One, keeping the direction that you had in March, February, March, when you were rehearsing the show, picking it back up now in the fall, and then Connie, how did you then? I mean, did you just continue with your script and stay in the character, or did you put it away and then say, okay, now we're doing the show, I can pick this back up and start studying it again?
Well, if you I got a completely different feel from when we first started.
Okay.
Between when we stopped in March and when we picked it back up in July, that's when I really started sort of buckling down, reading the script a little bit more seriously, trying to understand what Momo was trying to say and why she was trying to say those things and when she was saying those things. So I actually did more during the off time.
Wow.
And I think it really helped me because once I came back and then the direction that Alan was giving us just reinforced some of the things that I had learned, by spending more time with the script.
Gotcha. Yeah. Alan, how was that for you picking it back up?
Well, it actually went smoother than I thought. We had to bring in a new cast member because Rachel Dawson, who was the original Bridget for us, got a great offer to go to graduate school in Florida. But as it turns out now that she's going to do that virtually, so she's here anyway. But Rachel would have been fabulous in the role, obviously, because I cast her against several other women. But one of my other strong choices during the initial auditions was Joanne Early does some. And I called Jo and said, would you be interested in coming in and joining the cast? And she jumped right on it. And so I spent 2 nights about 2 nights, taking her through all the blocking, the movement in the show. You stand here at this point, move here at this point. But she already knew all her lines. She came to her ready to go. She was not behind the rest of the cast, really, and said that she didn't know some of what her direction was going to be. But the cast came right in and buckled right down, and we made good time with it.
Yeah, you never known that she was not there from the beginning of rehearsals. She did a great job, I thought. Connie, let's talk about some of your lines. Some of your lines are just not full sentences, of course, and then there's some language that you have that we've never heard Connie Cannaday say on an ALT stage. This is your first Adventure Space show, right?
This is my first Adventure Space show.
Yeah, welcome to the Adventures.
I am telling you, it's a trip.
We now have seen Connie Cannaday's Adventure Space language.
Yeah, that's it. Well, see, you have to remember how few shows I've done even all together. But the idea of not having a microphone, and because it really took me a while, and Alan after me a lot, because I wouldn't say anything loud enough. And so that was a real learning process for me. I think we've about got it up to the right decibels. There may even be some room for improvement on some of it occasionally.
There's much room for improvement.
Yeah.
Always give a note. Always give a note.
Adventure Space is deceptively dead for a sound room. The sound doesn't bounce around in there at all, and it's people think because they're so close that they're easily heard, but they don't understand that their back's to part of the audience some of the time.
Exactly.
Because of the nature of the configuration.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's been a real learning process, and most of what I say, I would if I had to list all the words out that I actually say, I would bet more than 50% are not real words.
Wow. Okay.
There are some words, and more towards the end,
Yeah,
that are both offensive to some and just real words.
sure.
But they're not put in the right order. So there's almost no sentences in there that you can really hang on to.
Sure.
Which is good and bad, because if I mess it up, nobody's going to know. But then at the same time, you want to be sure that you kind of stay true to what the playwright wrote. Because
Connie is in dementia mode, I think people that are around her think that she doesn't hear or understand. And sometimes her big tirade at the end of the show is sort of a regurgitation of things she's heard that were yelled and screamed at one another between her son and his wife. Have some dark secrets that they're holding on to, and Connie has heard them arguing and is regurgitating some of that venom.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's powerful. Connie, you talked about how you did a little bit of research, and the actress who originated this role, before we went on live, you were talking about how she kind of gave you you got some insight from how she played the role, correct?
Yeah, I saw a YouTube on an interview of the playwright and all of the cast, the Broadway cast. And one of the questions, as I recall, that was asked of her was, how did you remember that kind of gibberish? How did you do that? And she had said it was kind of like learning. She either said the Quran or some, something where you would learn in religious school how to say something verbatim.
Sure.
And just repeat it over and over and over again to the point where it just becomes, like just second nature to be able to say it.
Sure.
And so I tried that for a while without using any inflection to the words at all. Just try to remember it. Just say it 1,000 times.
Sure.
And I think that helped a lot. I do think it helped a lot.
Oh, I definitely agree. I thought the way you handle all that dialogue was just perfect.
Well, again, you would only know if you were sitting there with the book in front of you.
Yeah, but I can tell you, she's right. spot on with all her lines. She's spot on, and they come right in when they're supposed to, and they are the correct gibberish, and the cast I know appreciates that because they cue off of her a lot of times.
Yeah.
Well, Alan, this show is so hard. I saw in the sense like there's so much overlapping, and that's how it's written, correct?
I tell you, that's one of the most difficult things about this show, and I'm not sure I really love it, but it made it more natural feeling. I think the author, I don't have a script with me right now, but the author would put a slash mark in a line, one of the lines above your line, say, and the slash meant that your line was supposed to start after, right there at the slash, so that the end of the previous character's line and your lines would overlap. And so it gave it that feel where when you're in a family celebration like that, everybody overlaps and there's just all kinds of dueling conversations. And so our cast really kind of captured that pretty well. I kept telling them, you've got to decide which is the line that is the line we really want to hear and let all the other lines kind of dive underneath that.
Yeah.
And the hard part, like for somebody we were talking about before, the fact that we're trying to project, we're trying to be better about our projection, is to try and do that projection and back off if you're the sort of the subline in that part.
The secondary.
Yeah, the secondary issue. So, all these things.
It's kind of like a musical piece where you have the violin or the flute or something come up over the top of everybody else, and it's still there supporting it, but you've got your focus instrument at that moment.
I love that.
The script is really full of that.
Jonathan Mobley has a great comment. He says, "I'm sure every safety precaution is taken for you, but I was nervous every time you're in the wheelchair on the second level."
Well, first of all, Jonathan, I'm glad you were there. And it's hard for me to see anybody because I don't want to stare anybody down while I'm, down there in that wheelchair. But you know what? There's still plenty of space. There's no part, and I think, well, Alan directed it this way so that the wheelchair is moved to where it is never closer than never closer than 6 feet, and probably even more than that away from everybody at any point in time. So
it gets so close to that front edge when they roll you around to the door that one time.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
About the edge of that second level, it's like.
Oh, the edge of the second level. I'm sorry, I didn't read that well enough. Well,
no, you're good.
Yeah, here I am trying to act like I know what I'm doing. There was one night, actually, it may have even been preview night. Marley got me really close, but I had just had my tirade. And so for me to go, was not completely out of character because she got me really, really close. Now on rehearsal, Perry, he got me so close that I said, too close, put my leg out and said, no, we're not doing that. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
I love
but
it.
Yeah, I'm not unhappy to be down on the first floor in that part of the play.
Yeah, you're like, getting on that first floor.
I'm perfectly happy doing that. And hoping that Perry will roll me around in the last part closer to the back wall.
We ended up having 2 wheelchairs, so we had one upstairs and one downstairs, so we wouldn't have to carry it back and forth, which was a stroke of genius, I think. But
so smart.
Yeah.
Well, see, now you gave it away, Alan. We were carrying that thing.
Every once in a while.
Whenever Alan was talking about how he was getting 2 wheelchairs for that, it reminded me, and we joked about it, how when we did Avenue Q, there was the character that I play was Trekkie Monster, and he had to make a quick from the top floor to the bottom floor, and they gave us 2 puppets. And so we had an upstairs Trekkie Monster and a downstairs Trekkie Monster. And so it just made me laugh. It was like the magic of theater. We all puppets and wheelchairs and the whole 9 yards.
Well, and I blew one of the underlying secrets on preview night. Well, see, at the very end of the play, there's a certain trick that happens.
Okay.
And I don't want to blow it.
No spoiler alert. Yeah.
There's a trick. And I came out with the trick wrapped around me when we came out for bows. So I blew it for everybody, and I couldn't even come all the way out. It was like I was snagged, and I couldn't laugh. I mean, what are you going to do? You know,
lighting cue didn't work either, so that was also frustrating. We sort of fell apart at the end.
Well, theater, I mean, it's just live theater. Anything can happen.
Sure.
I was going to ask, Connie, other than, of course, COVID and all that stuff, what was one of the biggest challenges for you in this show?
oh gosh, the whole thing has been a challenge for me. I mean, this is, you know, as I told you before we got on, I'm still learning so much about, you know, how to read a character, how to be a character, how to make something out of words that are on paper, particularly if you haven't seen the play performed by, you know, other actors. So, yeah, I think everything is difficult until it's not. And so as we get through the rehearsals, it obviously things become more and more easy. But I will say this. I thought about how, since you're so close to the audience, and again, I didn't realize that you don't have to use very much makeup in the adventure space, but I thought, you know, it's like being on stage, you put the makeup on. So I thought, well, I'm going to look older. And I got all this makeup and I put it on and I realized I look pretty much about the same. So I didn't really need very much.
I love you, Connie. You're the best. You're the best. Other people also feel. We have Brian Scott says she's such a gem. Love.
Oh, thank you. Oh, David. Hello, David.
He says you guys too. We love you too, David. I love it. I love it. Because this is your, we talked about, this is your 5th ALT performance, correct?
Yes.
Remind us, your first show was
Anything Goes.
Anything Goes, tap dancing.
There's the shows.
Then Sister Act, or Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
Then Sister Act.
And Sister Act, and then
Through the Woods. Yeah. Oh, your Ada was just fantastic in Over the River as well. We talked about how completely different roles, you know, in a different motherly type of or grandmotherly type figure, but it was just both performances were stellar for sure. Connie, I asked Alan this last weekend or last time we were on, what do you hope audiences experience when they leave after they've seen The Humans?
Oh, you know, I really hope that everyone can relate to at least one of the characters, but I think that most of us can relate to multiple characters in things that we have gone through, and not so much just as a family setting, but again, the playwright has in the beginning of the booklet that there are several things that this play is about. It's fear of something, fear of illness, fear of loss of job, fear of loss of some, you know, there's some kind of fear that is just part of the human experience. And so, and you'll see the fear of those things is actually not just one to each character. The characters may have multiples of those. And I hope that people will see that and come out of there understanding that, and also have some sort of hopeful feeling that even if they do have these fears, that there is, you know, the sun will shine again tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. That's great. Alan, what have you gotten back as far as, you know, we have the new kind of emails going out after people see the show, getting some feedback. What have audience members talked about as far as the show?
Well, it's been sort of mixed reviews. I had one patron say that they weren't very fond of shows that didn't have a conclusion. And you know, this is one of those shows, like many of the shows we do at the Adventure Space, that leaves you wanting to go with your spouse or significant other and talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
When you leave the theater. I think that's one of the best things about theater is that you want to talk about it when you leave.
Yeah. I have a theory for the end that I'm going to talk to you both about afterward, not live, and no spoiler alert.
But well, now I've lost my
train. This, I mean, sadly, we weren't able to have our normal talkback series for this show, but this definitely would have been a great show to talk more about.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I know audience members.
I was talking about the different responses we've gotten. I had several patrons say they loved the show, but it was too much of a downer for this time of the. They wanted to come to the theater and escape. And they said, and I had one say, "Why did you start the season with this show?" And I had to say, "Well, I was actually ending last season with this show because it was ready to open in April, but something terrible happened to it called COVID-19.
Yeah.
And so we're opening the show. I probably would have opened with something more fun.
We usually do. If you think about last year with the Underpants, the year before that, pageant.
Yeah.
This bright, fun, bubbly show.
Sorry, everybody was expecting something lighthearted and jolly, but it's not it. But it's a beautiful play. It's a Tony Award winner, and I think we're doing a fine job with it.
Agreed. Kudos to you and the whole casting crew. Everyone has done a phenomenal job with it for sure. And people can still see it. One more weekend of shows. Alan, remind us, tonight is at 7:30, correct?
Correct.
Friday and Saturday, 8 o'clock.
Sunday at 2:30.
Perfect. So 4 more chances to see the show. Do you know, Alan, if any of them are already sold out? I know.
I think I heard somebody say Saturday was sold out, but I'm not sure about that.
So you definitely call our ALT box office. Everyone knows that number. It's 806-355-9991. Get your tickets. The doors will open 30 minutes before the show, and then you'll get in social distance seating. It's a fantastic show. I was telling my friends, it was interesting to go see a show. I have missed live laughter. I have missed live clapping. Like just to sit in a show and to see full bodies rather than just from here on in a box. So just that alone, that experience was fantastic. Then of course you see quality theater with quality performances. It just makes it awesome. So kudos to you, Alan, and the cast. It's a great show, and I can't wait for you guys to have a successful second weekend.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and don't forget, you guys can still get season tickets to the theater. We've of course have moved. Matilda has moved on into our December time slot. So the next show for ALT will be The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. And Alan, we don't necessarily know audition dates yet for that, correct?
We'll post them in the next week, probably.
Sure. So some people have been asking, they've been itching to get back on the stage. So be on the lookout for our website and our social media pages on auditions for that show. And then get your season tickets if you don't already have season tickets. Thank you guys both for being on Thursdays at 3 with me today. Next week, we have a fun, we're going to kind of promote the Academy next week, talk about, normally we have this big open house birthday bash celebration. We pack all the kids in, we introduce the instructors, we announce the season, all that good stuff. We're going to do all of that, but we'll do it virtually. So next week, tune into our Thursdays at 3, where we will introduce all of our Academy instructors. We have some great new instructors, of course, our amazing ones that are returning. And then we will be announcing the 2021 Academy season. There's some good shows, Connie. Can't wait for you to see these shows. There's some good shows on our roster for the Academy, so I'm very excited about that. And and don't forget, Monday starts registration. There's adult classes as well. Carol Limer is teaching an adult acting class on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey.
She'll do a great job with that.
It's going to be an awesome class. I can't remember the times, but it's going to be on Sunday, kind of late afternoon, early evening time slot. It's going to be a great time for adults to take classes as well. Tons of great classes for all ages, so definitely check that out. Oh, Don Shipman says, see y'all on Saturdays. Coming to the
show. Hello, Don.
Send some good love. So I love that. Anyway, we hope all of our viewers are safe and can't wait to see you guys this fall. If not this weekend, definitely this fall back in the ALT. Well, we hope everyone has a good rest of your day. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.